The first one, I'm going to explain the history of discovery Australia. For at least 65,000 years before Australia was home to indigenous people, including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander group, they developed over 215 languages and had deep spiritual and cultural connection to the land. The indigenous Australian life as a hunter and gatherer, using a sophisticated knowledge of nature to survive in different environments from desert to rainforest. They built permanent settlements, traded with neighboring groups, and even had a contact with traders from Indonesia before Europeans arrived. And then, early European sighting, the first recorded European sighting of Australia was in 66 by Dutch explorer William Janssen sailing on the Dove-Can. He landed on the western coast on Cape York Peninsula but did not explore further. Over the next century, the Dutch explorer made it part of the coastline. And then in 1616, Dirk Hartog landed on the west coast and left a peat flag as an evidence of his visit. In 1642, Albert Tasman discovered Tasmania, which he named Van Diemenland after the governor of the Dutch East Indies. Tasman later made it part of the northern Australia but did not claim the land. After that, the Dutch named the land New Holland, but they were not interested in settling there due to its harsh environment. And then British exploration and claim. The British became interested in Australia over a century later. In 1770, British explorer Captain James Cook sailed along the east coast of Australia. He mapped the coastline and landed at Botany Bay, where he noted the land potential for settlement. After that, he continued north and claiming the entire east coast for the Britain and naming it New South Wales. His report encouraged Britain to establish a colony there, as it was looking for a new place to send a fleet after losing American colonies. And then the first fleet and the British settlement. In 1788, the first fleet, led by Captain Arthur Phillips, arrived at Port Jackson and now named Sydney. The fleet consisted of 11 ships carrying about 100 people, including convicts, soldiers, and settlers. The colony faced harsh conditions with food shortage and conflict with indigenous people. However, over time, the British expanded their control, building farms and settlements. The penal colony grew as more ships arrived with the conflict. And then expansion and conflict. As the colony grew, British settlers moved forward further inland, claiming more land for farming. This expansion led to violent conflict with indigenous Australians. And now, as the frontier wars, many indigenous people were displaced and diseases brought by Europeans such as smallpox, and then mass lice, and then influenza, caused by massive population losses. Meanwhile, explorers like a native Flinger and Burke and Wills explored the interior, and Edward Eyre helped the British expand their knowledge of the land. And then the gold rush and economic growth. In the 1815, gold was discovered in New South Wales and Victoria, leading to a major gold rush. Thousands of people from around the world came to Australia in search of fortune. This period saw a rapid economic growth, the building of new towns, and improvement in transport and infrastructure. However, it also led to tension between European settlers and Chinese miners, resulting in anti-Chinese riot. By the late year of 18, Australian 6 British colonies, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia, and Tasmania began discussing unification. And then on January 1901, Australia officially became a federation, forming the Commonwealth of Australia under the British rule. Over time, Australia gained more independence from the Britain and finally became a fully independent in 1986 with the Australia Act. Today, Australia acknowledges its indigenous history and works toward reconciliation, while colonization brought the development. It also caused great harm to indigenous community whose culture and rights were long ignored. Modern Australia continues to recognize its past while building a diverse and inclusive future. And then the next part, we're going to explain about the geography of Australia. Okay, I will explain about the geography of Australia. Australia is the first country located in the southern hemisphere between the Indian and Pacific Ocean. It is the sixth largest country in the world by land area and has a wide range of landscape. In the eastern part of the country, you will find tall mountains like the Great Dividing Range, which has lush rainforests and open areas. These mountains are home to beautiful views and variety of animals. In the center of Australia, the land is mostly dry and covered by desert like the Simpson Desert and the Outback. The Outback is a remote area with tough climate and many important places to indigenous Australians, like Uluru, a giant rock that holds cultural and natural significance. The center experiences very hot days in summer and cold nights in winter, making it one of the toughest climates in the world. So to the north of Australia, regions like Queensland and the Northern Territory are filled with tropical forests. Cities like Darwin and Cairns are warm and hot, with heavy rains during the wet season and clear skies in the dry season. So the Great Barrier Reef, located off the coast of Queensland, is the world's largest coral reef system and is famous for its vibrant marine life and colorful ecosystem. So in the southern parts of Australia, cities like Melbourne, Adelaide, and Hobart have a more temperate climate. Summers are warm but not as hot as in the north, so while winters are cooler with some rain. So the southern coast is known for its beautiful beaches, rocky cliffs, and wildlife, making it a popular destination for both tourists and locals. So Australia also faces natural disasters like bushfires in the summer, cyclones in the tropical north, and drought in the center and east. This event can cause damage to the environment and communities. So the country is also home to many islands, like Tasmania Island, which is known for its wilderness and wildlife. Australia's diverse landscape and rich animal life making it an exciting and important place in the world. Alright, that's all from me. Next to the tribe of Australia. Alright, next I will explain about tribes in Australia. So there are Aborigines and Torres Strait Islanders. So there are two main indigenous groups of Australia, each with a rich cultural heritage and history that dates back tens of thousands of years. They have distinct tradition, language, and ways of life that have been passed down through generations, shaping their unique identities within the broader Australian society. Aborigines are the original inhabitants of the Australian mainland and Tasmania, while Torres Strait Islanders come from the Torres Strait Island, a group over 270 small islands located between the northern tip of Queensland and Papua New Guinea. While both groups are indigenous Australians, their culture and lifestyles differ significantly due to their geographical location and ancestral influences. Aboriginal culture is deeply connected to the land and future Dreamtime beliefs, which are spiritual narratives explaining the creation of the world and guiding Aboriginal law and customs. Their artistic expressions such as dot paintings, rock carvings, and body paintings often depict Dreamtime stories and their connection to nature. Traditional Aboriginal societies were typically nomadic or semi-nomadic, relying on hunting, gathering, and fishing for survival. On the other hand, Torres Strait Islanders have a culture that is more influenced by Melanesian tradition due to their geographical proximity to Papua New Guinea. They are known for their elaborate dances, songs, and artistic crafts, often inspired by the sea and marine life, which play a central role in their daily lives. Unlike Aborigines, many Torres Strait Islanders traditionally live in settled villages, engaging in fishing, gardening, and trade with neighboring island communities. Also physically, Aborigines generally have dark skin, curly hair, and brown eyes, features that have helped them adapt to Australians' harsh climate over thousands of years. In contrast, Torres Strait Islanders tend to have lighter skin with straighter or wavy hair, this reflecting their Melanesian ancestry. Despite the differences, both groups have faced historical challenges, including displacement, discrimination, and loss of land. Yet, they have continued to preserve and celebrate their rich heritage through cultural practices, ceremonies, and efforts to revitalize indigenous languages. Today, both Aborigine and Torres Strait Islanders communities are active in preserving their tradition while also participating in modern Australian society. Their contribution to art, music, sport, and politics continue to shape Australia's cultural identity, making them an integral part of the nation's history and future. I think that's all. Next to the academic part.
Now let's talk about the economy of Australia. At the dawn of the millennium, Australia witnesses an unexpected economic miracle as China was a global manufacturing giant. Australia became its primary resource supply. Iron ore transformed into red gold. Its price skyrocketed fourfold, making ton export across the outback, and the Australian dollar strengthened in global markets. Then came the 2008 financial crisis. While other developed nations stumbled, Australia stood firm. The government acted swiftly with economic stimulus. The banking system remained stable, and China continued purchasing their commodities. However, all boom eventually ended around 2011. The mining investment paper began to fall. Australia adapted by developing its education and tourism sector. Education became the country's third largest export, with students from across Asia filling universities. And meanwhile, housing property boom, creating wealth for home owners, but making the dream of home ownership increasingly difficult for the young. For nearly 3 decades, Australia avoided recession. Then in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic finally held this record. The government responded with massive assistance programs like JobKeeper. Through recovering the pre-pandemic level by 2022, the new challenges emerged: inflation, supply chain disruption, housing affordability crisis, and changing trade relations with China. Australia now faces renewable energy transition while navigating increasingly complex geopolitical water. That's for me. Move to the politics of Australia.
Okay, now that we've explored the economic of Australia, let's dive into a political history, how this vast land transformed from isolated colonies into United Nations of Australia. The first point, colonization and early governance. Before European arrival, Australia was home to indigenous Australians who had lived on the continent for over 16,000 years. They had rich cultures, language, and tradition deeply connected to the land. However, the arrival of the British dramatically changed the ancient way of life. In 1770, British explorer Captain James Cook claimed the eastern coast of Australia for Britain, 18 years later, in the 1788, the first fleet, led by Captain Arthur Phillip, arrived in Sydney Cove. However, this was no ordinary group of settlers. The fleet carried over 7,000 convicts, along with soldiers and officials establishing Australia as a penal colony. The British government saw Australia as a solution to overcrowd prisons in England. At that time, governance was simple and centralized. Captain Arthur Phillip became the first governor of New South Wales and held absolute power. The indigenous people were excluded from the system, and their land was taken without negotiation or treaty. As more convicts and free settlers arrived, the colony expanded. New settlements were established, such as in Tasmania, Western Australia, South Australia, Victoria, and Queensland. Each region eventually became a separate colony with its own local government. But however, they remained under British control and followed by British laws. The second point, the road to federation. Formation of the Australian nation. By the mid-16th century, Australia had transformed from a harsh penal colony into a land of opportunity. The discovery of gold in the 1850s attracted thousands of immigrants and boosted the economy of Australia. The colonies began developing their own identities, but they faced several challenges such as different legal system, trade restrictions, and even separate railway gauges. As the population grew, so did the desire for unity. People realized that working together would improve trade, defense, and infrastructure. The idea of federation joining the 6 colonies into the nation gained popularity. However, achieving federation was not very easy. There was debates and also disagreements over issues like state rights and how power would be shared between the national government and also local governments. After years of discussion and public votes, the colonies finally agreed to unite. On January 1, 1901, the Commonwealth of Australia was officially established. The 6 colonies, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia, and also Tasmania, became states within the new nation. The Australian Constitution was created, outlining the powers of the federal government and protecting the rights of the states. Okay, the third point, Australia's government structure today. Australia's political system today is a constitutional monarchy. This means that while the country recognizes the British monarch as the head of the state, the political power is exercised through a democratic system. The monarch role is mostly symbolic, and it is represented in Australia by the governor and also general. The real power lies with the Australian Parliament, which operates under a system of representative democracy. The Parliament consists of 2 houses. The houses of representative members are elected by the people, and these where laws are proposed and debated. The leader of the political party with the most seats become the Prime Minister. And the second is the Senate, known as the House of Review. The Senate of reviews and approves laws passed by the House of Representatives. Each state, regardless of its population, is equally represented in the Senate, ensuring fairness between larger and smaller states. Australia also has a system of federalism, meaning power is divided between the national government and individual state and territory governments. Each state and territory has its own parliament, responsible for areas like education, health, and also transportation. Okay, next is R.
Okay, so I will tell you about the fate of Australia. Australia is both the world's largest island and the smallest continent, surrounded by the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It is home to the Great Barrier Reef, which is the largest coral reef system in the world. The country's landscape is diverse, like featuring stunning beaches, lakes, rainforests, and the vast, a sparsely populated region known for its extreme temperatures and unique ecosystem. Australia is also home to Anak stations, that's the largest cattle stations in the world, covering around 24,000 square kilometers, which is larger than some countries. One of Australia's most fascinating features is unique wildlife with many species found nowhere else on Earth. The kangaroo and koala are iconic symbols of the country, while the platypus and equine mammal remains one of the most unusual creatures. Other native species include wombats, echidnas, and emus. Australia is also home to the world's longest face, and the name is the dingo finch. And then, the country is also known for some of the world's dangerous animals such as the book jellyfish, Indian taipans, saltwater crocodiles, and funnel web spiders, making it both a beautiful and dangerous place. Beyond its landscape and wildlife, Australia is rich culture and history, particularly as the home of the Aboriginal people, whose culture is the oldest continuously existing culture in the world, dating back over 65,000 years. Aboriginal tradition, including art, music, and dreamtime stories, continues to play a significant role in shaping the nation's identity. Today, Australia blends its ancient heritage with modern development, offering a mix of breathtaking natural beauty and extraordinary wildlife and vibrant urban life, making it one of the most unique and diverse countries in the world.